there's a few changes that I do. Like right now, the way that you see the screen is how the viewers see it.
Right.
But we want to make a mirror image.
Wow.
So even if we put stuff like on the screen back here and stuff, they can kind of read it and stuff with us.
Wow, dude, you got this thing like, yeah.
And I could pick from different intro music. I just went with that one, but there's a bunch of dumb shit to go from. We got Elijah Wood we got Elijah Williams. Elijah Williams. See, this is how bad I don't know you, dude. I've only met you one time.
We met once.
I saw you do an open mic, and I was like, you know what, I'll get this guy on the podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you were willing to come. Come hang out with me. Welcome to the podcast. This is MuseMe TV, everybody. Episode 67.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me,
dude. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So tell us a little about you, Elijah. Tell us what you do. What's obviously I know you from the comedy scene, but I mean, how long you been doing comedy? What's you had a show last night too, as well, right?
I did. Yeah, this was a good little weekend for me.
So let us all know what's up. Tell the viewers about you.
The whole shebang, dude. Okay, yeah. I'm 24. Albuquerque born and raised.
Holla.
Stand-up comedian, aspiring filmmaker. Still debating on whether or not I want to pursue music. That's in and out sometimes, but we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, this was a good weekend. Friday night, I got asked last second to do a set at the it's like the African American Film Festival party type thing. It was like an art show.
Okay.
That was amazing. People were not listening to Ty Jamerson. He was hosting it, and people were just like, he would go up and try and do jokes, and like no one would pay attention. So I was like, this is gonna suck. No one's gonna listen.
That's when people are like, yeah, I'm gonna go get something to drink.
Exactly, dude.
One of those moments.
So I was like, no one's gonna listen to me when I go up there, which almost made it feel better. Like I was like not scared because I was like, no one's gonna care. And then it ended up being a good set.
Nice.
So that was good. And
so
then
brought the energy back up, everything else.
Brought the energy back up. People were paying attention. People seemed to be having fun. Luis Powell Moreno, I think that's how you say his name. He just shouted me out on Facebook because I guess a lot of people he works with were talking about my set Friday over there at the Firebird. Have you been over there?
I haven't.
Dude, they got the Nashville hot chicken Sammys.
Oh, shit.
Dude, them are fire.
I have to try that. Heck,
them are fire.
Yeah, dude, I haven't done a lot of this weekend was my first invite to a show.
Okay.
Like I've always been just doing open mics.
Yeah.
So this was the first one that they were like, yeah, do you want to come do our show, Bit Bandit? We do it once a month. And I was like, that's pretty cool. I mean, obviously they might be seeing some improvement in my skill to be able to offer me that. So
I'm hearing good things about you.
That was flattering. That's flattering.
No, I'm hearing really good things about you, dude.
That's good.
I mean, people are shouting you out, and it seems like you're really like taking it. Sounds like you're ready to be on shows.
Yeah, I'm trying, dude. That's what I see the difference. I've only been doing this for 3 months now.
Wow.
But I see the difference of like the grind and not being super dedicated. There's people that I've noticed now in the scene that are just like, oh yeah, I've been doing this for like 6 years now, and I'm just like, whoa, really?
Right.
Wow. Like, I mean, I don't feel like we're on a level playing field, but we do the same shows. We're doing the same things. Like, it's weird how that happens.
It is.
But I mean, I've embraced it. I've enjoyed it so much. I mean, it's an art form that you never really expect to know until you actually do it.
Exactly.
Like I've heard so many comedians. I listen to a lot of Joe Rogan, but you know how he says it's just like it's an art form that you have to go on stage to do.
Yeah.
You can't watch it on TV. You can't be like, oh, I'm going to practice in my room for a while because until you go on stage, you don't know what you have to fix.
Oh my God, it's crazy, man. I remember right before I was going to start comedy and thinking that I could just watch people do comedy and then I'll be like, okay, yeah, now I know what to do. And then it was like, yeah, that's not it at all. It was not it at all. It was terrifying. It was awful.
What was your first experience like? Was it bad?
Actually, I did pretty good my first experience. I mean, so it was pretty cool. The first day I ever decided to do, well, I take that back. If we want to actually go to the real first experience,
the very first time.
Yeah, that was in high school, actually.
Okay.
And I was in drama 2, and we had a variety show. And the year before, I saw one of my friends do stand-up for the variety show in his drama 2 class. And so I was like, next year I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it.
Okay, that's sick.
And then so, yeah, I got up there, and I mean, It was weird. I don't know. It went pretty well. I mean, there were some jokes that bombed. There were some jokes that did pretty decent. I think my drama teacher got some emails from some parents, you know. I did a weird joke. I think it was such a dumb joke. It was just like imagine if historical figures had social media and it was like Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream tweet, or like, and then this is where I think people didn't like that I was like, Anne Frank Facebook updates or something like that. Yeah,
okay.
like people were not into that at all. But my drama teacher was like proud of me. He like loved that I like got up there and like I just said some outlandish shit.
That's
you know
sick,
what I mean?
Yeah. And that's cool getting some like recognition from somebody else, like an older figure that you wouldn't expect, right?
Exactly.
Like, I would never have thought like, you know, you doing a comedy show and then all of a sudden your drama teacher's like, you know what? Yeah. Or he's the guy in the corner that keeps laughing and stuff, and everyone just like, is this guy really telling jokes like this?
Exactly, man.
But again, it's a learning process, right? Because after that, didn't that get you more comfortable up there? Like, how many times in high school did you do stand-up?
Only that once, but I did improv troupe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I did improv.
What is improv exactly? Is that just, okay, this is my interpretation of improv, like, hey guys, let's go to an improv show. So we go to an improv show and then all of a sudden the show starts and maybe the MC or the host is like, all right guys, we're about to start our show. Give us a city. And then they say name the city and then you have to pretend you're in that city and stuff like that. How does an improv show work?
I think that's a relatively conventional improv show. I mean, I've been to some shows at the Box. Those dudes are pretty killer. And I mean, like, some of the stuff they come up with is insane. And some of the talent there is insane. I guess, like, some of the last shows I went to at the Box, they had the short form improv. I can't remember. I think that's what it is. It's like short form improv. And they would take suggestions. I think my favorite improv bit that I saw at the Box was this thing where they did, like, fake Oscars nominated like best acting speeches where they were acting out a fake scene and then someone was like, and this is the exact speech that such and such is nominated for with an Oscar. And then like they would go into this long, and I was just like, how are they coming up with this? Because they would make it funny but insightful but also go with their fake storyline, and it was just like weird. But in high school I loved our improv shows because we always had themes. Yeah, we had a theme. Like one show, I think we just did games. And then I think one show we had like a theme that it was like an insane asylum almost.
Oh, shit.
It was like weird. Like we would do themes and we would just go up there. And so improv is basically just like scene work on the spot. It's very equally like physical and like, you know, mental.
And it doesn't always have to be comedic, right? It can have all the elements of like a movie, like very suspenseful, very like dramatic, action packed, you know, whatever the improv is calling for or what the moment is going for and whatever the people are into, right?
I think so, dude. I think it has to be like, if you're just going up there to try and be funny, I think that's usually where you get like where you trip over yourself. Like if you're in your head of just like, oh, I need to be so funny, you're probably not going to be funny. If you're just like stay in the moment and go with it, you probably will create something cool. Nice. You know what I mean? But I don't do improv anymore.
No. But do you feel that improv work kind of slips into your stand-up work? Because I mean, what is that? Like crowd work and stuff like that? That's like improv, right? You're kind of working off of the crowd and trying to come up with an idea on the fly.
Absolutely.
So I can see where that training or that mentality kind of helps in comedy.
Oh, definitely.
How does do you do a lot of crowd work, or do you kind of pick on the audience and stuff?
Sometimes, man. I get it's so hard. That's one thing I'm growing on and trying to work on, right? Is like, it's hard for me. Like I write my set out and I rehearse it, you know, and I rehearse it. And when I rehearse it, I kind of like imagine a moment in which I might go off track a little, but like still, like I write my set, I rehearse it, and then when I'm on stage, I'm really in my head about sticking to my set the way I rehearsed it. Like it's almost like I write myself lines and then I'm trying to stick to it. And I need to really work on that, loosening up, staying present, and really like letting it go wherever it goes. And I've had some shows where I've done that really well. I remember one show I did, and I legitimately like wrote a set out. It was working terribly, and then I just went crazy and went off on the audience like a bunch. And like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's really hard for me, man. It's hard for me to like, I don't know. You know how it is on stage, dude.
It's just you don't know what to. I don't know. I've tried it a little bit, but then I get into the interaction. I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna try to do some crowd work tonight, and then I do, and I'm just like, exactly. What am I doing? I can't even think of anything at this spot. Like I try to reference my old material inside of the crowd work, but then that's kind of weird too because there's like talking to this old lady and I just referenced like 13-year-olds on social media. I was like, oh man, this isn't working as well as I thought it did.
Right.
But it's just practice at that end because I feel like when you get on stage and you for certain shows, the people in the front are there for comedy.
Yep.
So if they're there for comedy, you kind of have like a little leeway to ask them questions because they kind of understand it.
Yeah.
I felt that way last night where we had this group of people at the Red Velvet Underground and they were just sitting in the front and every comedian was just, a little bit of crowd work with them because they were so interactive and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's just the beauty of people that go to watch comedy compared to the people that just end up there for comedy. You get what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah, man.
Because it's awkward for those people that go there and they're like, oh, comedy's happening here tonight?
What?
Well, I guess I'll stay. I don't know. Maybe they won't talk to me.
Yeah.
And then when it does happen, it just feels awkward.
We are either gaining or losing followers in those moments, man. It's like people are either like, oh, Albuquerque comedy, not so bad. Or they're like, what the fuck did I just watch?
Yeah.
Like, this is terrible. It's hard.
And that's weird because like how are we supposed to draw from that?
Yeah.
Like, right? I mean, I don't know how comedy clubs are supposed to work. Like, isn't it supposed to be like an established place? It grows. People start to know the location and the night that comedy happens.
Yeah.
And they come because of it.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just me starting off comedy. I'm not a philosopher. I don't know anything too much of comedy. There's probably people out there just like, this guy doesn't know shit. What is he talking about?
Whatever.
But isn't it now a sense where like we're kind of depending on like streetwalkers to come in and stuff just to get an audience because most of our audience is just the other comedians that are there.
Yeah.
And half of the time, the other comedians aren't as supportive. They're just like, once their set's done, they're just like on their phone or go outside and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where there's other comedians where like, dude, I want to see if he's coming up with anything new. I want to see if it's funny or not.
Right.
Oh man, maybe I should tell him like, hey dude, you've been saying this joke for like 3 weeks now. Are you going to do something different or something?
Totally.
That should be more of the community of comedians, right? Is that?
I would say so.
Are we missing that? I feel like we're missing that in Albuquerque. What is our community? Do we have a community? It's weird.
I think there's a lot of different comedians who don't interact a lot. It's like, I don't think there's an overall community. I think there's like sections of the community. There's almost like cliques, but like not really, but like kind of, like, you know what I mean? I think that's what I like about my place is that I feel like even like I've always been that person who is in a bunch of different communities and a bunch of different kind of cliques, and I can kind of run around in that. And so I definitely think I like that I'm able to touch a lot of different areas of the comedy community, but I also do think like it's interesting like that there are not a lot of comedians who are ever interacting like at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like if there was a comedy club that was good, I think we would all probably come together, but at this point we're definitely all just doing independent work, and I don't know. See, I'm so new too, so I don't know who doesn't like each other.
That's kind of well put too. Is like we all love the art, but yet it's more of an independent thing.
Exactly.
Everyone is just like, oh well, I'll put on my shows, and some people don't even go to that person's show because of ego or whatever. Like,
exactly.
It's like, oh, I see you on this show on Thursdays, but I never see you on any other shows on like Monday or Wednesday or stuff like that.
Totally.
So that's a little interesting too. But I guess that's cool coming from you too, that you're kind of, I guess you think that you're new to the comic scene. How to this comic scene, to Albuquerque comic scene?
To the Albuquerque comedy scene. I mean, like I said, I did improv in high school, and then I didn't do anything comedy. I did some acting 2 years ago before I moved back to Albuquerque, but this is my first comedy scene. Okay. And I mean, like, it's been like a year and a half, but I consider myself new. I'm still learning a lot of things about a lot of people. Who knows? There's a lot of people who've been around for a minute, dude.
Yeah.
Like a minute, like you were talking about.
I've
you know
learned
what
a
I
few.
mean?
Yeah, learned a few about them.
I consider myself very new. Very, very new. I have to consider myself new. I think it's important for me. I can get into my ego too. You know what I mean? I have to like try and remain humble and be like, no, I'm new and I don't know shit. Yeah. Like I'm new and I don't know shit. I have to try and do that because man, after I sold out a show, I was like, oh, I'm the fucking baddest motherfucker. I'm about to be so bad. I'm about to be up on this bitch. And I was like, it took me like a couple weeks to be like, okay, like that was cool, but you still don't know shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I had to like reel myself in because I'm the first egomaniac to just narcissistically lose control. Like absolutely.
You have to make sure to have a level head.
Exactly.
I see what you're saying.
I need to be grounded frequently.
And that can get to you, I guess, in the comedy scene too, right? Is like you have one good night and you think you're the best, but if you have a few bad times, then you have to reevaluate what you did.
Exactly.
You can't, I love this example too, where people are just like, oh, well, it wasn't me tonight, it was the audience. It's like, was it? I mean, I don't know. Maybe it just was your jokes or whatever, that vibe of that night doesn't appeal to that crowd.
Totally.
And dude, I've seen it happen before too. Like I tell a joke on Monday night and it bombs, gross. And then all of a sudden Tuesday night, what the hell, that joke hit.
Yeah.
So it does depend on the crowd as well. When people say like, no, it's the comic and stuff too, it's just like, it depends on the crowd you're playing on too. Like you have to have enough material to know that like, oh, these jokes aren't working. Let's go to these jokes.
Exactly. I agree. And I was actually just thinking about that. Like I write out my set and then I stick to it and I need to figure out a way to like have my backup plans because what I'm running into lately is, and I'm having trouble deciding what to do if I just want to stick to my guns or if I want to make sure I have those backup plans because I start off with a lot of material. I think I start very strongly and then I eventually get into some like more socially conscious material and then I get into some maybe like darker material about myself. It's just about me sometimes. Well, no, I get into some darker material and that's where I either keep them going or I lose them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it either teeters off or like it continues to elevate. And I'm like, okay, do I stick to my guns? Do I just continue with my socially conscious material and my darker material? Or do I have those backup plans, those key materials and bits and jokes that I know that anyone can probably like get into? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard. It's hard.
It's a weird craft. It really is. It's been fun doing it though.
Definitely.
It's a great transition too because I've actually I'm a musician, so I play a lot of music, and I used to play in a band.
Right.
So like the stage presence and stuff kind of are similar. I feel the same in those sense, but then like I love how Josh kind of pointed this out is if you have a hit song in a band, people will love to hear it forever and ever.
Right.
But if you have a joke in comedy, that's it. It hits one time, and if they hear it again, they're like, I already heard that.
Exactly.
So that's where like consistency of like, I don't know, being fresh or being able to stay up with like, I don't want to say like current events and stuff like that because I'm pretty sure people can reference history and it still be funny.
For sure.
It just depends on how well you deliver the material and stuff.
Absolutely. I get so scared about like once I finally develop an hour of comedy, am I ever going to be able to do it again? It's just like terrifying a little bit. It's like, fuck, it feels like after that, I was like, how am I going to do that again? It's like, it feels like if I like, let's say I could develop an hour by my second year of doing comedy. It's like, oh my God, it took me 2 years to develop an hour. How the fuck am I ever going to like do that again?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. You got to stay. That's what's crazy about the craft is like, yeah, like I remember watching 2 Cat Williams specials and watching a second special. This was when I was like younger, and I was really, it's weird how that works. I was really annoyed that he was doing the same jokes that he'd done before.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But with music, it's insane because like, I think it's a little harder. I don't know. Do you? Or do you think it's like the same?
What do you mean?
Like the amount of difficulty being on stage presence, playing an instrument, and
I think it's a little bit, with the music sense, I think it's a little bit easier because, again, we go back to the whole practicing the craft.
Right.
I mean, we could practice in our room multiple times to get the note and the scale or whatever you're trying to do down.
Right.
But then once you go on stage, you kind of can do that no matter what. I mean, maybe you don't have the energy where you like, you know, run around the stage and do a bunch of headbanging and stuff.
For sure.
But you stand there and can play your stuff. People might enjoy it. They might like what you're doing.
That makes sense.
In the other sense of comedy, again, you go up there and just freaking, you have to try it. You don't know if a joke is going to hit or not. You can tell that joke to like 5 friends and they all laugh. But when you go on stage and go try that joke, it's totally different craft.
Definitely.
It's totally different feeling. And then compared to the next day and the next day. That's what I love about the open mic thing too, that I've learned is it's just practice.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like in the room practicing like your guitar and stuff, but you have to go to the venue to do it. And that's a little bit cooler that you can do more shows for random people in comedy than you can in music.
Yeah, that's totally true, isn't it?
Because you put like literally, if you do an open mic every night, you're doing a show 4 to 5 nights a week, and then in a band, you're lucky if you get maybe 3 to 4 shows a month.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can see the difference of marketing yourself too. Like you can be at a comedy club and just totally be handing out flyers every day.
Totally.
Every day. At a band sense, you're just like, oh, this is my concert and these are my concerts for the next 3 months, you know? I feel like it's a little bit different in the marketing sense and putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
But there are some similarities that I like. You're a musician or a music fan?
I am a music fan of all kinds of musics.
Of all kinds of music. I see you have like a heavy metal shirt on or really like some really what is this?
This is Die Art is Murder.
Die Art is Murder.
Are you into them?
I've never heard of them.
Really?
I have not.
I'm a sucker for Australian metalcore and deathcore.
So you're a deathcore and metal fan.
I am. Deathcore, metalcore. Those are like my primaries. Now, like I would say like the essence of like my soul is like late 90s, early 2000s new metal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like Slipknot and like Korn and like I have a whole playlist, man. But like, yeah, I don't know. Like I'm all about deathcore. I'm all about metalcore. Still to this day, I still listen to like the same shit that I listened to in middle school and high school. Like, for sure.
It's crazy.
Like, dude, Scene Kid Life, like all of it. Like, I don't give a fuck. Icy Stars, Attack. I still got that shit on my phone, dude.
And those guys, I actually do like some of those guys. I do like some of the stuff they've done because they've done some great covers as well too.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's crazy to know like so that's that scene. Those are the Scene kids. The Scene like metalcore and all that was part of the Scene movement.
Yep.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I think so, dude. It was like, I mean, for me, it's just like breakdown culture. Like, it's breakdowns. It's like songs with breakdowns, and there's so many different genres of just breakdowns where you either have like a really poppy song and then there's like a random breakdown, or there's like just songs that are just pure brutality with breakdowns. But I think they all fell in the same category, the same realm.
That's not the same. Like, does Suicide Silence kind of consider any of those?
Deathcore for sure.
Deathcore.
Yeah, deathcore. They were absolutely a deathcore band. They were like the most popular deathcore band.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot about that.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's so weird to think about in metal as well. How much of genres are out there that people don't even like understand or like from other ones, because I'm a really big like speed metal fan.
Okay.
Like I love like fucking guitar solos and amazing like guitar work, like Swedish death metal, shit like that. I'm really into those kind of things. So like when I was growing up, I was always like metalcore and deathcore, like I don't understand it because of the rhythmic movement.
for sure.
So that's what I didn't like about it.
Right.
But then growing up and stuff, like some of those rhythmic movements have cool patterns in it, and I kind of think it got adopted into. Do you know what the genre djent is? I've heard
it. I've heard about it. I don't know what bands are considered that.
There's some weird bands.
Yeah.
They're like instrumental progressive.
Yeah.
Deathcore music.
Right.
That's what I kind of consider them, but they do have that like aspect of it. But seeing how it all evolved into something is I like it.
Definitely.
It the way music is structured in a way is just, it blows my mind to think that like somebody in this sense, like I don't even know where that I can't even remember where that scene even I know, right?
I was like, wait, what?
Like a nabby.
I know when I watched some of your podcasts, there was like a dog situation, but I was like, is that a baby?
Right.
I was like, do you have a child
Right.
in the closet?
No, or what did Josh say? Is like that naked woman in there?
Oh, yeah, he was talking about that, huh?
He kept referencing a naked woman.
Referencing. I don't
That guy was cool though.
that scene for me though was like, I'll be honest, man. I was just like a fucking angry. I had a lot of deep anger, a lot of deep hatred, and just like the way that music sounded really helped me embrace that in myself. Is just like especially like when I first heard Slipknot and he's just screaming into the microphone.
See, I feel that's different though.
Yeah.
Because I really love Slipknot.
You do, don't
Slipknot
you?
is
Yeah.
the shit. And the same thing with Korn, dude. I have a Korn tattoo too.
Right.
But like that genre kind of was more, I don't know, more influential to like, because I don't think you're that much younger than me. I'm 29.
Okay, yeah, and I'm 24.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
so, well, actually, you are a little bit younger.
I am a little bit. Yeah. You do not fucking look it. You fucking in the Lazarus pit, dude. Jesus Christ.
Dude, I have that Asian gene.
Yeah, you do got that Asian gene.
Like, I can't gain an ounce, and I freaking look like I'm 12.
Yes, you do.
But the thing is, that genre, I love how you like that genre of music too, but that genre of music I felt was a little bit more influential in the sense of like, I mean, those bands kind of did something that made people really kind of follow them more. Because after that genre, new metal, I guess you could say, broke off, and then you have metalcore and all this stuff, that kind of had like its own little following.
For sure.
And that was kind of like the scene kids. That was so weird to think that they went with that. Like, I don't get it.
It's weird, right? Yeah, it was all at one encompassing. I mean, that was a weird time for everybody, I feel like. I mean, it was just like MySpace and YouTube and like hair straighteners and fucking like weird neon colored t-shirts, man. And like, I was absolutely that black kid with like a neon weird ass like I See Stars, A Day to Remember t-shirt, like, you know what I mean? Like I love that time period though. I loved it so much. I really like discovered something else inside of me during that time. It was weird, man. It's weird.
And I love how, don't you feel like looking back at that, it's like, God damn it, it's just so great how it shaped me into what I am today.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, some of the experiences may be negative or positive, but like in a broader sense, like the person you are now is because of all that stuff that happened.
Totally.
Would you change it or not?
Right.
Would you?
Right. I would not. I don't think I would change. I wouldn't change anything in my life that's happened.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that I just believe that everything has happened exactly the way it was supposed to, so I could be right here in this moment right now.
That's what's up.
Exactly. I don't think anything was an accident. I don't regret anything. I think it's probably easier for me to say. I don't know, man. I've made some like really questionable choices in my life, you know? So I think like that's just my spiritual perception of it, you know? That's just how I see it. I wouldn't change anything. Not even fucking those big ass Osiris shoes I bought back in the day.
Those were the shit.
Those were my scene days.
Those, I mean, skater shoes were the shit. I remember those skater shoes. I think there's still some people. Well, no, the high tops are in now, right? That's what people wear a lot.
Yes,
High top.
I could never high top it, dude. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. When I look back at the Slipknot shit, though, when I listen to it now, I'm like, these were the original breakdowns. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much in their music that are like, it's breakdowns. There's hella breakdowns in their shit. And it's just like, they break it down. They fucking just like, it's just Corey Taylor and he's just like screams and then it's just like dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that shit's like dirty. That shit was, oh, I love it. I love it. It gets me pumped just thinking about
That's
it.
what's up. How did you feel about earlier metal? Like stuff like fucking Metallica and Megadeth and shit like that.
I love it.
It was cool?
Yeah, there's I mean, I don't think I listen. I mean, I love Metallica. I love Slayer. I love Maiden. I saw Maiden once. That was great. I love old metal. I love the history of music. I love the influence that music has in different ways. But yeah, Slayer especially.
Slayer.
They encompassed evil, and they just like they they created an atmosphere of just darkness.
Yeah, they
and
were
I
sick.
just love that shit, man.
And then you end up hearing interviews with like the singer, bass player, and it's like, yeah, I'm a Christian man or a
Right.
Catholic.
Really?
Yeah, he's a very Catholic person.
Interesting.
So that's what's crazy to think about too. Is like being the heavy metal fan you are and stuff. Did you feel that? Are you a religious person because of this now?
No, I'm a spiritual person, not religious. I still denounce religion, but I do have a spiritual belief system, and I gained that through my recovery process, like my sobriety.
Yeah.
But like, no, I mean, I'm not religious. I probably won't ever go to church without, like, unless it was like for something like a fucking wedding.
I hear you.
No, I used to be I was like dangerously anti-religious is kind of like a way that some people put it, right? Like, as like, I was like pentagrams, upside down crosses. Like, I more or less, I think there was like a smidge of time where I took like the devil worship shit a little too seriously.
The Satanism.
Yeah, like I took it a little too seriously for like a year of my life. Like, but like, it was like, it's corny, It's
I think we've all been through that. Well, especially if you were into metal and stuff.
Yeah.
I think you might have like brushed that phase or something.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
right?
I've seen the Necronomicon book. I thought that was cool
sure.
back then. I was like, yeah, I wonder if music is all based off this or something stupid like that. But
I mean, the occult is just interesting in general. I mean, the overall thing, like all religions are interesting, and the occult kind of falls into that category,
Yeah.
and Satanism and the different branches of like of what there's like, there's like the Church of Satan, and then there's like Luciferianism, and then there's like whatever. I think there might be another one or two, but
what is it called? Scientology?
yeah. At the end of the day, most like Church of Satan, Lucifer, whatever, Satanism, they're all basically just atheists who hate religion.
Yeah.
Like, that's really all it is.
And in the same sense, the opposite is like you see all these like different like subcategories of Christianity, the Roman Catholics, the Jehovah's, the Mormons. Right. They're all just the fucking same.
Totally.
They have a little bit of a different backstory, but like you're just segregating yourself again more.
I feel that.
That's weird.
Yeah, but now like I truly do believe that, like, and see, I'm just out there. I'm fucking like, I'm out there. I mean, I did a lot of drugs. Like, I don't do drugs anymore, but like, so I am out there with some of my beliefs. I just want to say that before I just dive into this like topic. But it's like, no, I do believe that like I now connect with something beautiful, that isn't evil. Like, I connect with something, and some, some might call it God, some might call it the universe, some might call it like energy. I mean, even scientifically speaking, like energy exists like not really within the realm of like matter, like physical things. Like, there are things that exist like that we cannot touch, see, hear, feel, or like smell.
Yeah.
But like, it's weird. It's just like, I believe I connect with a beautiful energy, and like I make it a point to do that. And I believe like connecting with a beautiful energy, staying connected, and like living by principles that I feel like you could call them like spiritual principles is like how I like to move forward, and how I believe like that I am able to live like a happy, like healthy life now. Because obviously when I was into that other shit, my life was really fucking dark, and it was really fucking scary. I don't like living that way. That way is not fun.
Yeah.
I don't like that life.
I hear you, especially if it's more of like an awakening kind of sense.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of see where it's like, whoa, that was actually really more difficult than what's going on now.
Totally.
And in that sense, like, I guess I don't want to say it's a spiritual thing, but like what the way you kind of described it and stuff is like, was it just an amazing mushroom trip that made you think of another different kind of? Because I mean, I love to trip on psychedelics.
Sure.
And tripping on psychedelics the right way, I feel, does enlighten you.
Totally.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, acid probably kind of fucks with you in a weird ass way.
It can. Yeah.
I don't. I've only done acid one time, and the one time I did it, it was just like a mushroom experience.
Sure.
But it was artificial.
Yeah.
That's what kind of feels weird about it.
I feel that.
But when I dive into mushrooms and psilocybin, every trip after, I always feel I've always come out as a better person because of the insight and what I've learned from it.
Right.
And that's just in like you say, a spiritual kind of sense, because if you think about it, I'm not kind of governing my life to like the laws of what humans or like what should be done. It's more of what nature and what everything in nature entails. Like, you know,
Totally.
I'm pretty sure you know the difference between what a good and bad person is.
Yeah.
And you didn't need religion for that.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. there's that sense of like everything. Like, you know, when something is in a moral, good or bad. Like, you hear those examples all the time where just like, oh, I had to steal, but it was because my family is all suffering.
Right.
There's a middle ground to all of this where we all kind of understand enlightenment, or we all understand each other.
For sure.
Because obviously, in the sense where, I mean, I love to think of it as like a learning process for all humanity, but yet we still don't know anything at all.
Yeah.
Because I love how you explained it, how you kind of dived into it, like right in front of us right now. Like, there's millions of things going on right in front of us that we just can't see. Molecules busting each other in the face. I'm blowing air right now, and that just made a whole chemical reaction.
Yeah.
And that's like in a microscopic sense that we just can't see.
Right.
So thinking of like, I mean, this is where I get into like my whole being like blown away by every little thing. But it just, us as humans, like, it's so confusing and it blows me away because like you hear scenarios or you hear ideas where they're just like, oh, well, we're here because of a certain sense of God or a higher power. And then you hear people like Elon Musk where there's like, oh, yeah, we're probably in a fucking simulation.
Right.
I'm in a simulation state right now. And me, as a person who likes to have an open mind and learn from everything I see, gets kind of like freaked out by some stuff like this.
Totally.
So where in, I mean, I'm just ranting at this point.
Oh, I love it.
But where at this sense do we feel like us as humans, we know what the ride entails or what we're doing?
Right.
I mean, I don't think any of us knows.
I think that's the insane part. The insane part is for me to think that I'm the person who's going to know what's going on. And it's like the more I try and sit around and think what God may or may not be or what is happening in reality, it's good food for thought. But like, I also think like the more I'm trying to figure it out for myself, the more I just need to realize like I'm never going to fucking figure it out until I fucking die. So like, it's fun to like, but then like the problem is like if it's fun enlightenment, then it's good. Like we're doing right now, we're having a fun conversation about it. It's cool. If I'm sitting around like driving myself absolutely nuts, that's when I need to just let go and be like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like, fuck it. Who cares? I'm not going to figure it out. No one else knows. And so when we start gutting into absolutes, right? When we start speaking in absolutes, as in like, well, this is how it is. It's like, what? Like, you don't know, I don't know, none of us know. We're all losing our shit collectively. We're all freaking the fuck out and whatever, you know, I don't know. Whatever story we have to tell ourselves to get through the day. That's really kind of what life is. And
then you have those stories being like, you know, debunked all the time. Like I don't know. I'm really into conspiracies.
Me too, baby. So let's go.
I fuck around with like
let's go.
A bunch of different shit like that.
Let's get into it. I'm gonna hit my vape.
You do it. One of the things that I find that's weird that people say is how people think that the pyramids were actually constructed by the Egyptians. And yet we have evidence and different theories that say otherwise, that they were probably predated before then. And that's kind of a mind-blowing thing, is like, has society's religious / governmental / whatever taking control of our history so we don't know exactly our potential as humans, so that we're just stuck in a box? Or what's that blows me away in a sense, because I honestly I want to know about my brain.
Yeah.
I want to know what I can and can't do. There's obviously a bunch of things that like we learn about science and stuff all the time, that like the universe is infinite. There might be multiple universes that entail every scenario that we're doing right now.
Right.
There's a universe right now where we're just switch spots. You're hosting. There's a universe right now where you don't have eyebrows. There's a universe right now where I'm a chick.
Yes.
Infinite amount of things. There's a universe right now where we have different headphones. It's
right.
just the fucking aspect of all of these things that happen blow me away. Why is it? How do you think? How did we get to a sense where we're always questioning everything.
Right.
Like, were we never supposed to know any of this? Or did we literally get dumbed down to never find out this?
Right.
How do you feel about that?
Oh my God. I mean, I'm kind of like, there is a big part of me too that is on that side of kind of what you were talking about, where it almost feels like there are certain things that we are just given that may or may not be like completely accurate, but that is the story, right? Like that is what is in our history books. That is the official narrative, where it's like, yeah, I don't know. What are we not supposed to know any of this thing? Did we already know this shit? And did we get dumbed down into not knowing it now? I think like, I love this quote, and I don't know who did the quote, but I think it really pertains to where we're at in this moment in like human history, where there's this book, A Whole New World by Huxley, and I don't remember his first name. And I think the concept behind 1984 was more that like they would suppress information, right? And then the concept behind a Brave New World, not A Whole New World, what the fuck? A Brave New World, yeah. I think was the fact that we would be so overstimulated with pleasure that we would not even care to know the truth, that we would not even care to know what's really going on. And I kind of feel like that's where we're at. We're like, we are constantly being pumped full of pleasure. Our fucking like whatever, like our brain reactors that react to pleasure, there's constantly stimulation there, where like I think that's where a lot of people don't care to know. But I do think a lot more people are asking questions more than ever. I don't even know if I answered your question whatsoever, but
that's the beauty of conspiracy.
I know,
man.
dude.
It just blows people away. Like when it comes down to a conspiracy, like what the fuck? Okay, like do you think the robot thing is something to be scared of? Are you scared of robots? Have you seen what robots can do now?
Yeah,
doing backflips.
Yeah,
they have an automated dog robot that helps do like shoveling and mining and shit like that.
Yeah.
So like I talked to Roy about this, and he's one of those guys who's scared as fuck. He's like, Skynet's coming. You got to control these robots now. But what if perfect enlightenment is robot and human interaction, or robot connectivity with a human?
Right.
Like I'm into it.
Yeah.
Like obviously, I mean, you have a phone, right? I have a cell phone. We're always looking up stuff. We're promoting stuff on our phones. It's not like we go out to everybody and go, hey, shake their hand and be like, we got a show. You know, there's different marketing techniques, and technology helps us with that.
Absolutely.
Same thing with where we need to know about everything in life. Like, I don't know what happened today in this exact day in history. We can find out.
Yeah.
We literally can find out what happened today in history throughout every year, last year, 50 years ago. With that being said, wouldn't that be embraceful to have technology more? Like,
right.
I don't know if you're a fan of this, but did you know Elon Musk is creating this thing called Neuro Links?
What's that about?
So Neuro Links is actually like kind of like a computer chip that goes inside of your brain.
Huh.
See, it's like a little computer chip that goes behind your ear, and it has 1,000 like hair-like follicles that are needles that go inside of your brain.
What?
That will send an electric charge to different parts of it to stimulate it.
Okay.
Right now, the human trials start in 2020.
Okay.
What their main goal is to help people that have like certain kind of diseases or like muscle problems. You know, maybe they're paralyzed, and this little device will help them stimulate that part of their brain to make that muscle move.
Right.
But Elon Musk is actually going to make it so it's connected to an app, and it'll actually be able to feed information from the app to the chip, which will go to your brain.
Yeah.
So say if you need to look up an address, Google Maps, you'll look it up on your phone, but it'll go to your brain. You won't have to see it here.
I'm not making a horrified face because I'm scared of that. That just sounds crazy as fuck.
And the first human trials start next year.
That sounds crazy. That sounds a little scary. Not in like it would just feel weird to have that happening to me. You know what I mean? Like, how would that feel? That feels so weird to have things being shot into my brain, information directly.
And he's making it seem like it's going to be readily available for everybody. Like, you know, it'll be affordable. People will be able to get it, you know? Like, oh, you want, it's like,
I like that.
it's like how people try to get the newest phone, right? You
Yeah.
can get the newest phone, but you have to do a payment plan and get everything situated. There probably might be some kind of service with Neuro Link, you know, like
Yeah.
make sure you're connected to the Neuro Link server, stuff like that.
Totally.
It's still a lot in the making. I don't know, but that's something that I'm looking forward to in my lifetime.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm not against technology at all. And I'm not absolutely afraid of technology. I think it's good. Obviously, technological advancements are good. I think they've done a lot for us. They're really helpful. I think the capitalist mentality behind technological advancements can be bad. It's like that shit where it's like certain medications that people need are like way too expensive for people to get them. Like that kind of shit's fucked up when it comes to advancements. But like, yeah, fuck it. Who cares, man? Like, let's do it. Like, let's roll. Like, let's see how crazy we can get this shit going. Like, let's get weird box fucking trucks like he made going on the streets and like
Right.
fucking solar panel roads and like all that weird shit. I'm for it, dude. I don't give a fuck. Like, and if that's our downfall, then maybe that's the way it's supposed to be. And like maybe even like in the overarching like scheme of things, like in the universe, like maybe like this shit's all just a trial and error, and maybe like the last human beings fucking killed, like undid themselves in a similar way, and then it just starts over, and then we undo ourselves again until we just like finally get it right. Like,
and yeah, that's weird too, because like, what if it is kind of like the spiral to the end, but yet there's the failsafe from the government where they have like, you know, we have our underground bases and they're going to make sure they're safe.
I know.
And then once that's done, they come back up and they're like, well, we'll do it all over again. Try it out again.
Try it out again, dude.
Because I don't know. What did they say? They said they have like underground bases in like Denver and shit like that. Have you ever heard of that one?
Yeah.
It's like under the fucking Denver National Airport. There's like an underground base that leads from Denver all the way to Cheyenne Mountain.
Oh yeah. And there's shit here.
No, dude.
There's mad underground shit here.
Here, dude.
It goes down here.
That's
that's why I love this fucking place, dude.
We have history.
It's weird history.
Yeah, dude, weird. Okay, so tell me some things that freak you out about New Mexico. Or that intrigue you, that make you love this place. Anything you love, tell me. That kind of relates to our conspiracy weird. Because, I mean, we have the Indians here.
Yeah.
But yet, we have, not only did we have a national lab that literally, I don't know if you knew this, but our national lab can detect when any radioactive activity goes off in the world.
Really?
In the world. So if something went off in fucking Italy, a detector in New Mexico would be like, doot, 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 doot. And then we would have to call them and be like, hey, bro, what's going on over there? We heard you guys, we saw some radioactive activity going on over there.
What are you guys up to?
That's here. We're the ones that, in New Mexico, they have the detection for that.
I think that's so cool. I think that's so cool that, like, we have that here. Like, that's where we get down, like, on that kind of shit. Like, we're the ones looking out for that. And I think, like, people, like, don't understand how dope it is here with that weird shit, man. We got that crazy shit.
Because I'm pretty sure there's some like deep government secrets here. Like you look at the whole alien bullshit.
Yeah.
The fuck, bro.
Yeah, you got the Roswell. You got you got Dulce, you know. And then you got like, you know, I know someone from Dulce. They told me some weird stories, man. You know, you got the mutilated cow and you got the men in black coming over there and shit. And it's like, I don't know. It's hard. It's like, but I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, what reason do you have to like lie to me about like a secondhand story? And it's like, maybe you were lied to, but like, what? Why? Like, I don't know that many people, I think, who are like absolute sociopaths who just lie for fun.
They just don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So it's like when people tell me shit, I give it the benefit of the doubt, man, because you hear shit. Yeah, you got the Native American stuff. And it's like, I had someone recently talk to me about, they were like, yeah, like, I feel like these people are fucking with me, like they're fucking witches, man. And then I went to the medicine man and he's been like helping like get that out of me. And he told me to look for these signs in them and they were doing those things. And I was just like, damn, dude, like, fuck, you know? And it's just like weird. I think the only thing that's like, I feel like I never get to, have you seen anything stuff? Do you ever run into shit? You ever had ghosts in your house?
No.
You ever had demonic presence?
Not really. I've never believed in anything like that.
Right.
I mean, this is going back to the mushroom trip and all.
Right.
But I remember one time I tripped on mushrooms and I'm still a little convinced after seeing an interview with Elon Musk. Not convinced, but it's one of those things that always blows my mind where I'm just like, what if this is a simulation? So I tripped one night and I just went outside and I saw a light that looked like brighter than all the other lights. It wasn't a star or anything like that, but it reminded me of like a glitch or a failsafe inside of our simulation.
For sure.
So it was just trippy and stuff. So I feel like if there is aliens or anything like that out there, it's just that's how fucking crazy life is. Like, I don't feel like I want to believe that our life is really like a meaningful thing where we actually do stuff. But then again, when you think about it, I'm like, what if this is this fucking simulation?
Right.
Like, it really is like a simulation of somebody playing a game, but yet me and you are just side characters.
Right.
We have no idea that the simulation is even going on. We don't even know if the main character is ever going to interact with us or not.
Exactly.
But the game is so good that it just feels like our life. And you go in the opposite sense, is just like, oh, what if it was like, because I've heard stupid stories where aliens invented humans. Aliens are the ones that made humans. Like, they turned us a certain way. We were like this fucking species that had both sexes, and then aliens were like, well, let's divide them into two sexes and turn them into their own species. There's so much shit out there that just you kind of have to take with a grain of salt, but yet still taste it.
Exactly.
Because you never know.
Yeah.
That's how I always am. I love listening and hearing all these skeptical stories. I may not believe it, but I know it. And you never know.
I agree, dude. I like to just explore any ideas about any possibility, man. It's like, cause at the end of the day, none of us know. Like we said, like we keep bringing back to, like, so it's fun to consider. It's fun to consider. Spend a week and just imagine that you are living in a simulation. You know what I mean? Like, spend a week and imagine that, like, you know, God is real. I don't know. See how it fucking goes. Just fuck around with it, man. That's the fun part about life, is like, you can fuck around like that, man. Just like break down your borders and explore, you know what I mean? I think for me, like, where I've come to the point where I have to just be like, you know what? If we're in a simulation, I'm gonna make this the best goddamn simulation ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna just fuck it then. Like, then that's where we're at. Then we're doing this thing. Like, let's keep rolling then, baby.
That's how I see it. I've always seen my life as a video game character.
Yeah.
Because you always have stats, and your stats can be added, you know. It's
Totally.
Like the stupid Sims, like, you know, like, oh, this guy just wants to learn how to do comedy. Well, guess what? He's going to an open mic night.
Yeah, he goes to an open mic.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone boos once, and then okay, he goes back home, and and then he goes back. Oh, they cheer.
So I've actually always wanted to do that, like a nerd kind of thing, where I kind of write down what I think my stats are in life, where I'm like, I actually have good cardio, I actually am decent at lifting, I have good charisma, I have good social skills, blah blah blah, but I try to improve them every time I do something, where I'm just like, kind of have a criteria where I'm just like, oh, well, because I'm actually not, this is more of on a personal note, but I'm not the most flyest dude with women.
You're fly.
I don't go out there and just like, what did they say? I'm not a legit closer.
I feel you.
I kind of can play the game and hopefully I win, but there are people that go out there and literally know that they're going to get a chick every night.
Sure.
There's that's that sense. I don't feel like I can do that.
Yeah.
But that's that scale again of my charisma, where I'm just like, well, maybe I'm only at 22%, but I should go talk more to women and see if I can raise that more.
Totally.
Because it does happen where, in a sense, I mean, it's all just doing it.
Yeah.
Of anything.
Yeah, anything.
Of anything. Like, of anything.
I think it's important to find out what, in that sense, like, what things do I want to improve on and why, and then, like, what are, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. It's just basically, like, having an idea of who you want to be, the kind of person that you want to be seen as in the world, the way you want to represent yourself. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I want to raise this thing about me because I want to be seen as more of a compassionate person, right? My one thing for me is like, I need to be a better listener. I'm a terrible fucking listener. I don't listen to people well, and I don't want to be seen as someone who will not listen to you when you need to be heard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good idea to have that down is like, yeah, like your stats, man. What are my stats? Okay, my listening skills, they fucking suck. Okay, I want to raise that up.
Maybe I can get a few points and then stuff.
Exactly.
So I feel like seeing it, like maybe seeing it on a board or something will kind of will get me to actually improve on those things that I feel I need to improve on.
Totally. I think putting pen to paper is important, dude.
Yeah.
Writing it down, dude. Like the journaling or the fucking just putting shit down, like you said, and putting that pen to paper and saying like, okay, this is what I want to improve on. This is the kind of person I want to be. This is how I want to be represented in the world. Like, this is how I want the world to react to me. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of like what I do. Like, I have a mentor and we talk about that a lot. And it's like, okay, like I go about my day and then I look at my day at the end of the day and I'm like, okay, when I did this person reacted this way. And it's like, okay, that's like a blip on the radar. I need to look at that. Okay, I don't like the way I thought this interaction was going to go this way. This interaction went this other way. Why did it go that way? Okay, what did I say? Is that how I want to be represented in the world? Or do I stand by that decision? Was that actually wrong? I don't know, you know, and it's important. I think that's how one can build a good character about themselves, you know?
Yeah. And you do bring like a lot of different aspects too, because like I said, if you think about it, you end up knowing the difference between good and bad. Maybe he did steal, but why did he steal?
Why did he steal?
You have to understand the like likelihood and the differences between each of the scenarios.
And I hate that shit because like fuck, like everyone has their own moral code and that's cool, but like we are like ignoring symptoms of a bigger problem. Why did they steal? Because they're poor. Why are they poor? Because the system is set up for them to fail.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're ignoring that. We're just looking at the person stealing and go, oh, you're a piece of shit. You deserve, lock you up. You know what I mean? And that's that bullshit. I hate that shit.
I hear you. And that's just hard to like, I don't know. That's more of like going into the conspiracy sense. Is it the government keeping us down?
Right. And it's hard, right? Because I've been talking to someone lately who they come from more of like a sociology background. And I come from more of like, I guess you could say a psychology background, even though I didn't study psychology, but that's more of like where my shit comes from, where I believe more like the change starts with me. Like, and I have to make that change within myself before I can go about making other changes of anything else like around me. And it's like, and then, you know, I talk to some people who are more about the social idea where it's like, no, the problem is the social, and in the social aspect needs to change for people to even be able to change personally. And so it's kind of interesting, you know what I mean? I don't even know how I get into those moments where we start going and I'm like, why did I just say that? Because I don't remember what prompted me to even say that like at all.
Again, that's the beauty of the podcast. We're just here to chill. We're just here to chill, talk.
I love it though.
Just, you know, get to know each other better, different philosophies, ideas. And that's the beauty of this podcast. I feel like me doing it for so long, I've learned so many things from so many different people now.
Right.
Like you can go down. There's just like, you know, I feel like it's a learning experience no matter what. And this is something that not a lot of us do anymore, is just literally sit down and talk.
Yes.
No written subject, no actual topic, just literally shoot the shit. Whatever comes out, and you find out more of a person in that sense than you would as like, well, I really need to find out if this guy does this. I need to find out if he feels this way. I need to find out if he does this. So these bullet points already kind of have like, oh, I'm trying to figure this out.
Right.
But that's not the sense of an actual interaction with a human.
Right.
That's what I kind of love about like philosophy and shit, is because like Plato and Aristotle, this is all they did. This is all they did. Sit around and talk about the ideas and the things that they were thinking about and see if the other person had the same idea. If not, and if they didn't, let's talk about it.
Right.
And I love that shit.
I love that too. And it's funny because like I'm a comedian, but like unless I have a microphone in my hand, like this is kind of my natural like state of being. And it's funny because there's other comedians, like like I watch Josh Fournier and I watch Corey Herrera, and they're just so funny, dude. And they're just so fucking funny. And they come in and that's their natural state. They're fucking hilarious and they're smart guys and shit for sure. And it's just like funny. Like I'm such a serious fucking person unless you put a mic in my hand and put me in front of people. That's where that shit comes out. Or unless I'm probably trying to impress a girl, then I'll bump up the funny. I always bump up the funny for the ladies. Obviously.
I get you. And but see, that's the thing too, is like you never know. They might be looking for that sophisticated philosopher.
You never know.
They're
dude.
just like, you never know.
I've been talking to some smart ass women lately, bro, and they've been putting me in check, like straight up. There's some smart women out there. I love smart women. They've been putting my ass in check, man. They've been challenging some of my ideas, and that's like we talked about, man, sitting down with someone and philosophizing and talking about different things, and you learn from me, I learn from you.
And I feel like that's more an embraceful, loving relationship than what we've turned into, like what relationships have turned into now, where it's a status,
right?
Or it's like a click kind of thing where it's like, oh, are you on Tinder? Oh, I'm not on Tinder. Right. Well, I don't even know if we're going to date then.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, are we dating? I don't know because you didn't put it on Facebook. Like these little things that indicate that it's a social status where it's just really getting to know the significant other.
Totally.
Or just getting to understand them.
Yeah, man, I'm only trying to fuck with women who are like trying to have some intelligent conversation and shit like that. Like, and I know that's like such a cliche thing to say. It's
right.
Oh, I only want to talk to girls who want to like sit under the stars and like talk about fucking why are we here? But it's like, I don't know, man. It's like, I mean, I don't know. There's a time and a place for like mindless fucking sex, but like,
exactly. There's how much do you want to do that in the sense of actually having a conversation?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, I fucking wish I was like, see, I don't even wish I was that because then that would be just creepy as fuck. But if I could just like constantly have sex without like having to worry about the ejaculation phase, right? So then I would be that guy that can have sex all the time. But yet, I mean, going into like human nature and the way reality works, you know, we have to take a break in between some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And in that break, what are you going to do?
Exactly, dude. Exactly.
Because, I mean, it's all fun and games until there's actual... See, but then again, think about it this way. Us as humans, we actually do this kind of relationship / get together to breed when other animals are just like, I'll never see you again. I'm out of here. So what is the right way? Because obviously we are human animals. We're animalistic. We have the same patterns as certain animals out there.
Yeah.
So what makes us want to have a deep connection relationship with our significant other instead of just like, well, some people do just plow and leave.
Right.
But that's the beauty of humans, right? The beauty of what we do. Because there's I don't know if you know this, but there is a chimp known as the bonobo chimp, who's literally their whole chimp species is just all about orgies.
Wow.
All about orgies.
Okay.
The only rule they have is that the mom will not sleep with the kid or the kid will not sleep with the mom.
That's a good fucking rule to have.
Other than that, it's all no holds barred. Everybody's fucking everybody in that tribe.
The worst part is as human beings, we absolutely fetishize incest, but like these chimps even know like, yeah, we don't cross that line.
They know. They're like, you know what? We've seen what happens. But I mean, I guess that's the beauty of humans.
Yeah.
Like we come up with different ideas and stuff.
I think we desire connection, and I think connection is the way to go. And it sucks because like I absolutely think the demise of my last relationship was a lack of willingness to embrace such a deep, intimate connection and such a fear around that commitment. You know what I mean? And I dropped the ball on that one. I got to live with that, you know, because it was hard for me to what's the word? Not prioritize. I guess it was hard for me to embrace that aspect of it rather than and let go of just like the desire to be the mindless sex having man, you know, not mindless, but just like to have that, like to just be like, to just fuck, you know what I mean? And just like be the guy who's just fucking. And it's just like, that sucks. 'Cause I don't think that's really always what I want. And it's hard. And I think I learned that. And I think like I went down that road again and it was just kind of like, okay, now what? You know what I mean? It was like, okay. And I think with me, it's like coming from that like psychology standpoint, it's like, I think when I'm embracing in that like desire to just like be sleeping with all the women that I possibly can, I need to look at that. It's like, okay, it's because I'm insecure. It's because
I'm a comedian.
I'm a comedian. No, I'm just kidding.
Because I see that too, is like when you're on stage, you kind of have that power.
Yeah.
There is that little power where, I mean, I've seen it where a sense where you make a girl laugh and you're like, holy fuck.
I know.
I just did that. I never did that when I wasn't talking on stage. And they, not only are they watching you now, but you have more of like some kind of presence.
Right. It makes you feel awesome.
And it's kind of like, you know, I feel like that's the beauty of comedy. It's just to show like I can make a girl laugh on stage. What the fuck am I doing off stage? Why can't I do it off stage? Why can't I interact with this person off stage? Mm-hmm. And that's why I feel comedy's really helped me blossom more into like talking to people more.
Sure.
Because it's just like literally like they laughed at my joke. Like what's not to say like thank you for laughing at my joke. I mean that's a little more like straightforward and stuff.
Exactly.
I think I went off the rails, but
we keep going off rails, but I love it, dude.
Yeah, that's again.
This is good.
The point of the podcast. We just here to hang out, fucking talk shit.
I like going off the rails, man. And so far, I haven't said anything I regret. I think so. That's a good start.
Well, I mean, you started off at the beginning saying you don't regret anything.
It's true, and I think that's the. I mean, that's the story that I tell myself, like in faith. You know what I mean? Is like. Even in it's the mistakes, especially. It's like I was talking about. It's like I look at the interaction that goes the way I don't think I was gonna go, you know, and I have to take a look at that and go, okay, like, well, that happened for a reason, so I could learn this, and this happened for a reason, so I could learn that, and I have a lot of faith around my experiences, especially when they're painful and negative. You know, talking about losing a relationship because I felt like I couldn't get out of my own way. In some different ways, and it's like, yeah, like I understand that I have to feel that pain to move forward accordingly. You know what I mean? And the only requirement is that I embrace that lesson and that I'm humble enough to go, I was wrong. How can I change? You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it.
It's a growing experience.
Exactly.
Such a great growing experience. Because no matter what, I've always felt like the next day is just a little bit different. That can be different. You can't repeat yourself.
Totally.
It can't be repeated. I mean, you can kind of repeat the same actions and stuff, but it's not the same. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different thing that maybe you feel like, oh, I'm in a rut. I can't get it out and stuff. But in reality, it's not the same.
Yeah.
Every day can change a little bit different for the positive or for the worse, but still it's a constant difference that you grow upon. Mm-hmm. And that's just true with life, I feel.
Yeah, and that's where I'm all about, like, that personal responsibility shit. Like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And if you're doing the same thing over and over again and then victimizing yourself as a part of your life and wondering why nothing is changing, well, it's because you're doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. And it's hard to break that cycle. It's so hard, but it's like, I can sometimes lack sympathy for those who are in that cycle. But then I have to remember that there are so many people who didn't lack sympathy for me when I was in that cycle and showed me a way out.
Yeah.
It's hard to maintain that. I think I can get caught up in that and just being like, well, fucking figure it out. And it's like, no, I remember that people had to hold my hand and show me how to get out of that.
Yeah, it wasn't. It's hard to think that people get out of it by themselves,
right?
When in a sense, sometimes it does help to have help. Exactly,
and that's where it's you have to humble yourself and ask for help. I think, and it doesn't matter what it is. If it's drug addiction, sex addiction, codependency, unhealthy relationships. If you can't stop eating dog shit, like whatever, like,
yeah.
just there, I can't do it myself. I can never do it myself. I can't do anything myself. You know, I can't do this comedy shit myself. You know, last night I was so grateful, man. I got to pick Zach Abeda's mind a little bit, someone who's been doing it for a little bit. And he kicked me on some game, you know, he was telling me what's up. And I was like, yeah, man, I got to take that. I can't do this alone. 'Cause if I left to my own devices, Well, I end up fucking it up actually. Usually.
Yeah, and you kind of like lose the sense of it inside of your own brain.
Exactly.
Like it just keeps going and going. You're just like, well, I have no real like leeway or nowhere to really project anything that I'm trying to think of.
Right.
Where is this coming from? And then, like you said, it could be the help or just trying to get more insight from somebody or something else. Mm-hmm. And that, in that sense, I mean, that's us learning as humans.
Right.
Dude, we've been getting way too serious on this.
I know.
Shit.
What the fuck? Okay, what's going on? Dick and balls, dick and balls, dick and balls.
Life
dick
is
and
so
balls.
crazy. Are you on any streaming services right now? Do you fuck with Hulu, Netflix, all that shit?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I be fucking with that. See, I've been back on that Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Been watching That's So Raven, bro. Been
Really?
watching Even Stevens and shit, bro.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I've been watching. What I watch right now the most is the Eric Andre show.
Okay,
Please tell me.
The best show
It's
ever.
fucking. Oh my god,
Dude, I've seen that show so many times. That show's the shit though, because like,
Yeah.
he takes an idea and it's just brilliant. Because everyone that comes is like, hey, I'm here to do an interview, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, not what you think. And I've wanted to do that. I was like, maybe I should do that for one of my podcasts. Just fuck with the audience,
Right.
fuck with the guest that comes. But I still haven't thought of an idea or what it was going to be like, because I don't want to I'm just going to do everything Eric Andre does. Like,
Yeah.
let me put a heater in the corner and just have it fucking hot as fuck in here and make people sweat.
It's hard to figure out at which point is it very calculated, and at which point is it absolutely just him dicking around. And there, it's kind of like Rick and Morty, right? Where it's like, how much is it like this is super creatively actually really smart, and how much of it is like these guys are just dudes like us and they're just really funny and they just come up with some bullshit, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's hard to like, but I do think like all those dudes are geniuses.
And that's what's weird to think about too, is because like you end up going on YouTube and watching like the philosophy of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And you have some dude really break it down where it's like scientific and like, oh, they're actually telling you morals and values and stuff. And you're just like,
Right.
really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Like it's mind blowing. Because have you been up with the new Rick and Morty?
I've only watched all of the new ones once, and I didn't feel like I really got a good, like, I need to go watch them again.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, I guess that's a spoiler alert, guys.
I like that. Spoiler alert.
About to happen.
We're about to spoil Rick and Morty.
But if you remember on the second episode, right, where he like shared the toilet with that guy, there's some like deep philosophical meanings in that
There
episode. And it's like crazy to think about. Just like, wow, it's like, you know, come and take a crap on someone's toilet, but yet it's like a moral story about not having friends. And
Right.
it's one of those things where you kind of like get lost in, where you're just like, I don't know if it's trying to teach me a lesson or if I'm supposed to watch this and laugh with those episodes. And especially when, again, you have like a philosopher that's like talking about it on YouTube, like
Right.
especially like taking parts where it's like, oh, well, this is actually a quote from, you know, this ancient philosopher that actually reflects on friendship. And you're just like, what the fuck?
And that's why I'd be like, yo, don't shit on comedy, dude, because like those dudes are crafty with it. It's like you said, man, they take this idea and on the surface it seems so fucking just like dumb, but deep down there's some other shit going on. I'm still an advocate for South Park too, like all day, dude. And like,
Genius.
I know a lot of people who think South Park is just so dumb, but like, I don't know, that's just how we comedians are though. We like absolutely like, that's just how we consume our knowledge almost, like in that way. Like that's how I learned a lot of things, by watching a lot of shows that people think are really stupid, but like I feel like I learned a thing or two, you know?
That's a good example. I think of that like that way too. It's like, I want to write a joke, but I have to think about it first. It's just like, I learned more from fucking Malcolm in the Middle than my mom showed me, you
That's
know?
what I'm saying, dude.
Like, you know, TV shows and stuff where you actually saw an episode where like, oh, look, he stole something. Oh, but he got caught and now he learned his lesson. Like, I was like,
Right.
you see that? I'm just like, fuck. Like, that's true, and it hits to you. And then you're like, I learned from watching TV than actual parenting. And is that a bad thing, though?
Right.
Because, like, is that how good that writers and like producers can structure a show where you learn a lesson and a value from it, instead of just taking it as just like, oh, well, this was another episode
As entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously as entertainers, to us, it's more. And obviously those experiences sparked something inside of us that said like, no, that I want to do that. Like, that's what I want to do. I want to be like that, because it's a deeper thing for us. And I think like for people who don't aspire to be what we're trying to be, I get it. It's like, yeah, it's just for you. You come home and you don't want to think about life. You just want to take in the content at face value and then move forward, which I respect that completely. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's just like, I understand how like as people who aspire to be entertainers, we take this shit seriously, dude. I take this shit very seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I take movies and television very, very seriously.
Yeah, you understand it.
Yeah.
You understand how, like, even inside of the show, when they have a punchline and a joke, you're like, oh, I get it. Mm-hmm. You know how it was written, why it was in the spot where it needed to be.
Exactly.
And maybe that joke or whatever kind of had a little lesson in it that actually portrays to the story.
Yeah.
And we notice that.
Exactly.
Compared to other people where there's just like, you know, oh, I've seen this episode already.
Yeah.
Or this episode again. Where it's just like, oh man, I love this episode. I learned so much from this episode. I can't wait to see it again.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
I guess that's a beautiful thing about technology and the way we've developed as humans, because I mean, like, we can take those values and learn from them, and we don't. I feel again like we don't need a religious aspect or anything to learn about being a good person.
Totally.
Fuck, I can go watch an episode of Friends and see an episode about being a good person, and I probably did learn about being a good person. Mm-hmm. There was no judgment, no bad values, no anything like that. But yet we learned it in like a wide spectrum sense. It's kind of like sheep herding, you know? They're just kind of teaching all of us a same sense right away. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't, you know?
Yeah.
And you kind of see it in sheep where they're just like, I'm going to follow the herd. And you see the one that goes the opposite way. And you're just like, well, this guy doesn't get it. So he's obviously going to get fucked up.
Right.
But then again, that's a bad thing. What people try to portray is like, you shouldn't be a sheep person. You shouldn't follow the masses and stuff.
Right.
But that, again, fucking rants and shit, bro.
I love it, dude.
That's how life is, though.
It is.
Fucking question mark and itself.
It's all question marks. I've been feeling I want to get into some nerd stuff.
Tell me anything.
A lot of things, man. I mean, obviously, I immediately see the Deadpool. I need to get back in my Dragon Balls, dude. But like, I'm Marvel and DC, definitely. Like,
so you like a lot of comic books and stuff like that?
Yeah, growing up, like, I noticed all your collectibles when I came in. It's like that's how my family, like, that's my dad. Like, my dad, we had toys, we kept them in the box, we took some out, we set them up in cool poses. We had like 800 comics. You know, we have the shows. It was all the shows. We were watching the 90s X-Men, 90s Spider-Man. Like, that's how we got down. And like, the way comic books have gone have been amazing. I'm also big on Star Wars. I'm about ready.
Yeah, right.
Are you ready?
December
I'm about
20th,
ready, dog.
bro.
I don't give a fuck. Give me your take on the newer ones.
Well, I honestly like them
Yeah.
because they have kept the franchise going.
Yeah, me too.
It's a great story, and the story still goes on. We still see iconic characters that we've grown to love and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's I like it.
I like it.
I'm a fan of it. I don't think people that don't like it just don't accept change or just don't want to know. I don't know. I that's another thing too, is like, I kind of get upset with people that say like, oh, I can't believe they're remaking all these old Disney movies and stuff. It's just like, so what? Watch the old one then.
Yeah.
The new one is not supposed to be appealing for you if you don't want to watch it.
Exactly, man.
And it's the same thing with the Star Wars, man. It's like, I like it and it's appealing to me, but if it's not appealing to you, then just stick with the original three. Like, that's your thing.
It was made for a modern audience, and it's clear. And I am a modern person, so I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm with the changes. I agree with most of the changes we tried inside. I don't care. I'm glad we have a strong female character. I don't care if you want to make her very powerful. Fuck it. Like, and I think the Last Jedi, what that did, I thought it was great. I was like, I'm so into, like, it was very like anti-capitalist. It was very like modern, like, ideology. You know what I mean? Like, I love the scene when they're on the ship with like Benicio del Toro's character, and like, I like how he's like, oh, these people sell weapons to the Resistance and into the New Republic. You know what I mean? It's like that they were exploring some shit that Star Wars has never delved into ever.
And see, that's the thing too, is like, they're getting ideas from modern people to add to the story.
Exactly.
They're like, hey, let me get your take on this, and then they're just like, this would be so cool because this is how people are thinking now.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's again, I like it. Change is good. I like when something gets reintroduced to the masses and then it just brings them back to the old stuff again.
Totally.
Like, again, if you don't like the remake of the new Aladdin or Lion King, then you should go see where they got the idea from.
Yeah.
Because obviously they made it again for a reason. I don't think they really remake movies if they were bad.
Yeah.
They're not going to be like, oh, this movie was so bad, we should try to make it again.
Exactly.
Like, it was a fail. You can't do it again.
I do think we need to put some more importance, though, on supporting the new wave of filmmakers and idea havers. Like, do you like horror films?
Yeah, I'm into horror films.
You like Hereditary, Midsummer, like Ari Aster. There's like Ari Aster, Robert Eggers. Those are like, to me, those are some of the greatest new era like horror filmmakers. Like, those dudes fucking knock it out of the park. Like, just those like independent films, like the Safdie brothers. Like, have you seen like Uncut Gems is coming out? Like, they got that one. Like, there's a lot of filmmakers who are making some shit that is like brand new, original ideas that are like amazing, genius shit, man. So I don't know. It's like that whole like Martin Scorsese like hating like on Marvel.
Oh, okay.
Have you been reading into any of that?
I've heard a little bit of it, but
Yeah.
give us a little more of the...
Well, it's just like Martin Scorsese is just like, what he's trying to say, I think. Well, first thing he's trying to say is like, he gets it because like for him, like when he was young, going to an Alfred Hitchcock movie was like going to an Avengers movie, and it was like a spectacle like that. You know what I mean? But like at the same time, he's understanding like it's almost like the commercial capital value of like remakes and sequels and franchises as opposed to like what are we really trying to do like with cinema. Like, we need to be telling stories like that incite emotions and make people have an experience, and he doesn't feel like that's happening now. I don't necessarily agree with that. When I see Marvel films, I'm filled with many emotion, and I tend to tear up more in a Marvel movie than any other movie I go to. Yeah, I do, dude. Watching Spider-Man die in Infinity War, I was like, oh my God, like I totally cried.
It was pretty sentimental.
I know.
I get what you're saying though, because like, especially growing up with the character, like the character and you're just like, wow, they portrayed him so well in the movie scene. This is us talking about how they make morals and values inside of the movie where you're just like, holy fuck, I learned like, the importance of like a friendship or a life, know, and you see it in the movie and you kind of feel for it. And there are movies that do that so well, like and you don't have to follow the franchise to do it too. Like a good Marvel movie, if you're not really going to be like, oh, I've seen every Captain America, Iron Man, and fucking Thor movie, now I'm going to go see the Ant-Man and Wasp. If you just went to go see the Ant-Man and the Wasp for the first time, it would still be amazing to you.
Yeah.
And you probably can get some kind of lesson or value from it if you took the right kind of information from it.
Exactly.
And I love how that's the sense of entertainment now.
Yeah.
Is even in like, I don't know, you probably can find some kind of lesson or morals in a very scary, gory movie and stuff, but that's just showing you another aspect of life as well. Look at the Joker movie, right? That was touchy to a lot of people, but yet it really dove into like psychotic and like really mental illness and shit like that, and made you really think. And now look what happened. A bunch of people were freaking out. They're like, oh, this is probably going to cause a bunch of problems, or oh, this was actually made for unintended audiences, or blah blah blah. But yet nobody did anything bad.
Right.
If anything, people enjoyed the movie and embraced it in a way where they're just like, wow, I understand when people go crazy. So I don't know. I love how in our society that it's just like, all I feel like is like us going through history and stuff. We're just telling stories to learn values and stuff. Like, this is just like the Native Americans telling their stories around the campfire, or the Vikings telling their stories around the campfire. Right. We've just so advanced in our technology now that that's the way that we portray our stories now.
How cool is that?
Yeah, right. We get to see and interact with it. Like,
yeah,
dude, that's crazy.
How cool is that? Even in our comedy, we have an avenue. We have a way to do that on a personal level.
That's true.
Yeah.
Are you ready for the VR? Are you ready for virtual reality?
I don't know. Yeah, I think I am. I think that sounds pretty cool. That sounds pretty insane. Are you into that shit? Is that like you fuck with that?
I've actually I've tried it a few times, but
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's just like being able to put yourself in another sense of a
I'm
world.
cool with it.
Like if okay, here's a great example. Like us doing our comedy career right now, if we can just put the VR on and kill every night, would we do that instead of
Right.
going out and doing the comedy?
Yeah.
Like that's what kind of freaks me out is like,
Yeah.
would the VR experience be so amazing that that's the only thing we're striving for is just to go back to the VR experience?
You're like addicted to VR.
Yeah, I gotta go. Oh fuck, I'm at work. I gotta finish work. Once I get to work, though, I can't wait to go on stage and I'm gonna fucking kill.
Right.
Just wait, and then it turns into that.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's crazy.
I feel like that's almost more of the danger of like the technological advances rather than like technology like turning on us and fucking like killing all of us and destroying
Right.
us. It's just like our own personal interactions with technology. Like, are we like we need to be diligent about not making human connection go extinct. Like, I think that's like the main thing. We must be diligent about maintaining human connection and doing what we can to do that in connection with our surroundings and our nature. I
Yeah,
think
because that's a losing thing too, right? A lot of people are just like, there's some kids that don't go outside at all, or like never really actually been to a mountain range or know anything about snow and shit like that.
Right.
So that's. Never mind. The human race is fucked.
I don't know. I know it's weird, man. I don't know. I'm actually I have a more optimistic outlook these days. It's weird. I don't really know. Like I think I have some faith in some things. I know there's so much that's fucked. But I like to hope it's gonna work itself out. Maybe not.
I mean, and that's how hopeful we are, right?
Right.
That's what we're hoping for in everything.
Yeah. That it's going to find a way. I'm not the person who's going to figure it out. I'm not the person who's going to find a way to fix it. I'm hoping I have faith in others and good people. I have faith that good people exist and that they're out there and that they're doing what they can to counterbalance the awful, as long as they don't succumb to the fucking evils. You know what I mean? We can lose good people to money, you know, we can lose good people to power, we can lose good people to vagina or penis.
But it's just being grounded.
It's being grounded
in that sense of awareness, I guess, or yourself.
Yeah, it's humility. It's inventory. I think it's inventory. I think it's like consistently having a good look at yourself and going, okay, what's working, what's not working? How am I being represented in the world? How do people see me? Does no one like me? Why?
Right. Yeah, and that's another crazy thing too, is like, is it an established thing for somebody to make their situation better, or is it really because they don't like you? Because there's so many, again, that's the beauty and the worst thing about the human brain is when you actually can reevaluate every little angle and section.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's some stupid illness or disease that causes that, but really where you're just like, this person says I'm a bad person. Is he saying I'm a bad person because I really am a bad person, or is he trying to get a level up so he's making me look like a bad person?
Right.
So you start seeing in that sense, and then you're just like, oh, you either go to the depressed state where you're just like, oh, I must be a bad person. Mm-hmm. I'm going to like maybe change my ways or just keep being a bad person, or a spiteful kind of like, oh, this dick thinks I'm a bad person. This fucker thinks I'm bad. Well, we'll see how bad he thinks I am after I'm done with him.
Right.
See, so like, where is this like human? Oh, that shit scares me. Yeah. I'm just like, because in that sense, like, where is the people being honest and humble again with actual information of everything? Mm-hmm. Again, we're ranting.
We are so ranting. We have ranted. We've done some good rantage.
So actually, we've been here for like an hour and 30 minutes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's been a good podcast,
Time
man.
fucking flies, dude.
Shout out to all the viewers. Thank you guys for watching.
Shout out to all the viewers.
You guys have any questions or anything, go ahead. We'll try to answer them.
Was there people watching?
There are some people watching.
Really?
What we try to do, though, is I try to make this a conversation base between the two people. And then in between, if it's good questions or some good comments and stuff, then I'll just be like, all right, Magic 69 rocks. Ian, if you're still there, give us a question. Let us know what you think. I know you were talking about the VR. He said the VR is too much for my brain. And have you tried the VR at all?
I haven't tried it at all.
I kind of feel like it's kind of like once you have it on for too long, you get like, a little headache and stuff because it's just like overwhelming.
I could see that.
So if that's what you're talking about, Magic 69 rocks. Ian, that's you. That's all you.
Who the fuck is that? I love your name, sir. Magic 69 rocks Ian.
It was fun. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, I'd love to come back whenever, man.
Yeah,
And
dude. Again,
we have so much we didn't even talk about. Like,
what's up? You a Pokemon fan?
I had Pokemon cards when I was a kid.
That's it?
Unfortunately, not anymore. And I think I jive more on a Yu-Gi-Oh basis.
Oh, dude, you saw the Yu-Gi-Oh collection.
I did see it out there.
I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh guy. Have you kept up with the mechanics?
I have not.
It's horrible, dude.
Is it?
It's so bad.
Okay.
What was the last mechanics that you remember of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Oh God, I mean, I was a kid. Yeah.
Do you remember Synchro Monsters?
No.
Damn.
Wait, I mean, like what? Like Exodius?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's like the original.
Yeah. So there was Exodias, and then there's. Do you remember Ritual Monsters?
No.
Ritual Monsters. You had like a magic card that says you have to sacrifice a dark and a light monster to ritual summon Relinquish.
Whoa.
So you had to have a card play. And that's still really far back. That's like that's Exodia days.
Yeah.
And,
okay.
And so a little more goes on where now they have a thing called Synchro Summoning.
Right.
Where you have monsters that actually are known as tuners. What are used to combine with other monsters to create star levels. So on the card it has like those little stars that indicate how much levels there are, like level 4 monster,
right.
level 2.
Right.
You combine them to make these I guess you could say these white or silver synchro monsters to whatever star level that it is. So if I have a synchro monster that is level 8, I have to put 2 cards together, 3 cards, however many cards to reach 8 stars.
Yeah.
So I have a level 2 monster and a level 4 monster, and then I put in another level 2, and they all combine together to make a synchro monster.
God damn. You been on some shit.
Then they added another mechanic called XYZ Monsters.
Okay.
So what you do is you have 2 level monsters that are the same. So it has a level 4 monster and a level 4 monster. You put them together and you put a card on top of them, which is known as an XYZ summon.
Okay.
And inside of the card description, there are little things where it's like you can detach one of the XYZ materials, which is the 2 cards that you put together to activate an effect.
Damn.
It's really intricate.
Okay, you might need to put me on game then, dude.
It's really bad. I'm not even done yet.
Yeah,
we're
okay.
still in like 2008.
Like 2008 Yu-Gi-Oh right here.
They just recently added 2 years ago a new mechanic called Pendulum Summoning.
Okay.
So it's actually a card that has a monster and a magic on the same card. So it has both of them.
Okay.
They changed the way that the field is.
Oh.
So now that you have to put these on the designated area to activate what is known as a pendulum summoning. So yeah, they have that mechanic now.
Okay.
So they did one more mechanic change, which is now known as a link summoning.
Okay.
Which is even fucking stupider. It's so much harder.
You hate it.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay.
But what you have to do is you have a link monster, and there's certain criteria that allow you to summon it in the new field.
Yeah.
Because there's a new field now again. So it's not the same field look as the pendulum summoning.
Right.
Which is not the same look as the beginning. So it all started with the way the cards looked one way.
Yeah.
Pendulum Summoning got introduced, so they changed the field.
Right.
And now Link Summoning is here, and that's totally fucking changed. And it's just intense, dude.
Right.
I only collect the Yu-Gi-Oh cards just for the card value.
Okay.
I don't play the
I
game
see you.
anymore.
Yeah.
I really don't play the game anymore.
Yeah.
If I know about a card that I really like or that is super rare, I'll just be like, I'll try to get that card.
Yeah.
Or try to I like to do that whole go on Craigslist and people will be like, I'm selling all my old Yu-Gi-Oh cards for $100. Just take them all. I'll be like, oh, I'll take them all.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
take them all and find little gems in between them.
Yeah.
Some are hit and miss, but that's how I've been doing my collecting. I'm a big
I like that.
Yu-Gi-Oh card collector now.
That's fucking dope, man. I'm gonna have to check out the collection.
Yeah, you'll be impressed. There's some cool shit in there.
Yes, sir.
Some stuff you probably never thought of. Like there's actually multiple prints of the Dark Magician by different artists.
I like that.
So there's some cool shit
I
in
could
there.
fuck with that. That's dope.
Elijah, thank
Yes,
you for
sir.
coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Give a shout out. Where can they find you? Do you have anything coming up that they should know about?
This next week is gonna be fucking crazy.
You just get it all out there, brother.
So what's that? First of all, aren't we on a show on Thursday together?
Yes, we are doing that show.
Yeah.
Oh man, we'll talk about it after.
Yeah,
though. But
okay.
there's some shit going on about that show.
Oh fuck,
There's
this is
some
gonna be
weird
good.
shit.
Let's
going on.
off the books.
Yeah,
off the books.
that's off the books.
That's
shit.
off the books.
But we have a show coming up on Thursday.
Yeah.
It's actually it's our first show that we're trying to do. That Nico's trying to do. It's called Nico's Comedy Club.
Yep.
It's Thursday. I think at 6:30 to 8:30. If I'm correct.
And then right after that, I'll be at Nexus Silver Tap Room on the west side for Buck D's Nexus Laughter with a Side of Soul Food. That's my monthly. That's my favorite. It's like that show is where I grew straight up. You know, that's where I got in front of a crowd of people I didn't know, in front of a crowd of people who will definitely let you know if you're not good. And that's where I was able to grow and realize that I might actually be able to do this. And then Friday next week, I got Enchanted Circle Brewery, a show that Jamar Hall and Sean Dean put on. And then after that, I'll be headlining at the Trick Lock that same night.
Nice. So you'll be doing 2 shows that night.
Yeah, I got 4 shows in a span of fucking 2 days.
That's what's up.
It's time to work.
So he'll be busy. Are you going to be hitting up any mics this week?
I'm going to start getting back into mics. I need to commit. Sure. Let me think. How about I commit to I'm going to commit to Red Door on Wednesday. Will you be there?
I'll be there.
Okay, hold me accountable.
All right.
I'll go because
I'm just going to write your name on there.
Okay,
just be
I like that.
Elijah Williams. And
Yeah.
if it's like, did he show up? Fucker, he just ruined us all, bro.
Dude, because that's my biggest downfall in comedy is I don't go to enough mics. I don't go to enough mics.
That's kind of like, I mean, that's where the work is.
It is.
It kind of is.
It truly is.
In the little sense, because again, you'd never know if that walk-in traffic is actually a comedy fan, and it just brings in more people.
I've made this process a lot harder on myself than I've needed it to be. I mean, it's been very incredibly successful, and I'm a huge advocate for living life. You know, I'm just not gonna put all my time and energy into comedy because there's so much other aspects in my life that need to have maintenance frequently that I'm not going to say ever that I'll just like, and you know what, maybe that will be the make or break, but so far I've been pretty successful with my still doing things the way I do them. But I understand that there are some certain things in comedy that are musts, things you must do if you want to get better, and open mics is one of them.
Yeah, I
know?
hear you, man. Well, with that being said, Elijah Williams, everybody, you guys take it easy.
Later.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Give him that shout out.
Bang,
You guys-
bang.
Peace.
Nice.